You've heard it all, countless times before. Reality isn't real, we're code. It's an ancestor simulation. But that argument starts with a pretty arrogant assumption that the simulation was built for us. What if we're just a byproduct of a simulation made for something else entirely? This is Stellar Stories, and this isn't just another simulation video. Nick Bostrom, the philosopher who made simulation theory go viral, argues that if future civilizations can run realistic simulations of their ancestors, then statistically, we're probably living in one. You've probably heard that before, and let's be honest, if you hadn't, you wouldn't have clicked on this video. But here's the twist. Bostrom's idea assumes the simulation was built for us, that we're the main event, and that's where things start to unravel. So, what could some alternative purposes for the simulation be? Well, for one, scientific exploration. Advanced civilizations might run simulations to study complex systems, such as galaxy formation or black hole dynamics. In such simulations, conscious beings like us could emerge, incidentally, not as the primary focus. If the simulation is granular enough, which would be down to the quantum realm in the case of our universe, then it's conceivable that we exist as a mere curiosity for the simulators. Maybe there's a virtual post-it note above our solar system saying, "to be reviewed." Or maybe our universe is just an artificial intelligence training ground. Our universe could serve as a sophisticated environment for developing and refining artificial intelligence. Human-like consciousness might be a tool within the simulation, aiding in the training of AI systems rather than being the end goal. We already see this today in our universe. There are entire professions dedicated to AI which focus on morality and ethics. Maybe the whole reason this reality exists is just to train AIs how to deal with sentient meat sacks humanely. Could it all be an episode of the Kardashians? It's conceivable that our reality is a form of entertainment for entities beyond our comprehension, similar to how we engage with video games or reality TV. Our existence might be an elaborate performance for others' amusement. Let's face it, our reality is already consumed with this idea. I feel it barely needs an explanation. Maybe the culmination of video games is the creation of entire universes, and the player gets to be its deity. This one is particularly unsettling, but I like to think that anyone who would allow this would enforce some restrictions on the player to prevent them becoming sadistic, megalomaniacal monsters. I know what you're thinking. Sure doesn't seem that way, and I can't blame you for that. Maybe we're just a side effect. Like the foam on top of a pint. Mildly annoying, but hard to get rid of. We might be unintended byproducts of a simulation designed for other purposes. Our consciousness and experiences could be emergent properties, not anticipated or desired by the creators of the simulation. Maybe, in another higher universe, scientific simulations have become so advanced that they can make universes like ours at will. Perhaps their universe is so vast, they can easily acquire the resources necessary to simulate a tiny universe like ours billions of times over. We already see complex simulations of things like galaxy formation and dark matter today. Perhaps this idea is the logical conclusion of that, and we just happen to evolve. Maybe the simulators haven't even noticed we exist, and if they did, would they even care? This is all very speculative, I hear you say. And you're right, but some very smart people have given at least a semblance of credence to these ideas. For example, physicist Melvin Vopson has proposed that gravity might be a byproduct of information entropy minimization, suggesting that the universe operates like a computational system. This perspective aligns with the idea that our reality could be a simulation designed for purposes other than human experience. If you're interested, there are some of my sources linked in the description. This perspective challenges our anthropocentric view and invites us to consider that our existence might be incidental in a vast, complex simulation. It raises philosophically complex questions about purpose, consciousness, and the nature of reality. So what does it really mean, if we're not the intended audience of this universe? It challenges something deep in us. The belief that we matter, that this world was built for us to explore, conquer, understand. But if the simulation isn't for us, then we are not explorers. We are not the protagonists. We are background. In that case, we're not the player, we're the NPC, and once that idea lands, the questions start to spiral. What does it mean for morality? If we're just part of the scenery, are our lives still meaningful? Is suffering still unjustified? Is kindness still virtuous? If the beings running this simulation are capable of our level of detail, quantum fluctuations, consciousness, memory, evolution, then they likely understand the ethical implications of creating sentient life. And yet here we are, experiencing joy, pain, love, war, confusion, extinction, hope. That might suggest one of three things. 1. They don't care. We are beneath their attention, like bacteria in a petri dish. We exist for the data they create, and nothing more. 2. They do care, but this simulation was meant to be hands-off, a kind of philosophical test, a non-interventionist experiment in how sentience unfolds when left alone. In this case, our moral progress, or failure, might be the point. And 3. They don't know we exist at all. We are emergent, a side effect, a bug that became self-aware. Maybe we're not the plot, just the background hum while something important happens off-screen. This is arguably the most disturbing and the most liberating possibility. No afterlife, no cosmic judgment, no meaning except the one we choose to make. No creator, no rules, just us, inventing meaning from the glitchy pixels we call life. That's either terrifying or empowering. And here's the kicker. If the simulation isn't about us, then the question of why we're here might be fundamentally unknowable. We might never decode the purpose, because the purpose was never ours to find. Bonus round number 4. This one might stretch the rules of the premise, but it fits the spirit, so hear me out. What if the entire universe was made for you? Sounds absurd, right? But picture this. A human society, thousands, maybe millions, of years more advanced than ours. Suffering, gone. Poverty, gone. Scarcity, ancient history. Death, optional. People live for as long as they want. No aging, no struggle. But what kind of petulant, bratty, entitled children would be raised in such a utopia? No hardship to overcome, no need for altruism, just me, me, me. The elders of this society, the ones who remember what life used to be like, get sick of it. These spoiled digital immortals need a wake-up call. So they build one. They plug their descendants into this reality. A harsh, messy, beautiful simulation full of pain and joy and uncertainty. Each life is a lesson, maybe compassion, maybe resilience, maybe just learning how not to be a jerk. And when they die, they start again, until they've earned the right to exist in paradise without pissing off the old folks. That's peak old man grumpiness right there. And this isn't even a new idea. Buddhism teaches it, and thinkers like physicist Tom Campbell say this is the entire point of existence. One thing's for sure, it's a hell of a twist. So, are there any clues that may offer a semblance of credence to these out there ideas? Well, yes, but they are as speculative as the propositions themselves. But this wouldn't be stellar stories if we didn't at least give them a cameo. Clue number 1. The Planck length, nature's smallest pixel. At the heart of quantum mechanics lies the Planck length, approximately 1.6 times 10 to the negative 35th meters. This is considered the smallest meaningful unit of space. Below this scale, the very notions of space and time cease to have any physical meaning. It's as if the universe has a built-in resolution limit, much like the pixels on a screen. This discreteness hints at a digital underpinning of reality, where space isn't continuous, but composed of indivisible units. Clue number 2. Pixelated spacetime, the universe's grid. Building on the concept of the Planck length, some physicists propose that spacetime itself is quantized, forming a lattice-like structure. This idea, sometimes referred to as the spacetime pixel theory, suggests that the fabric of the universe is made up of tiny, discrete units. Such a structure could explain why certain physical phenomena, like the behavior of particles at quantum scales, appear as they do. If space-time is indeed pixelated, it would be a strong indicator that our universe operates on computational principles. Clue number 3. The fine-tuning problem, a universe just right for life. Our universe's physical constants, such as the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, and the cosmological constant, are set to values that allow for the existence of life. Even slight deviations in these constants could render the universe lifeless. And when I say slight, I mean slight. The fine-tuning of our universe is so precise, it borders on the absurd. If the strong nuclear force were just 2% stronger or weaker, atoms wouldn't form. If gravity were slightly different, stars wouldn't ignite, or they'd burn out in seconds. The cosmological constant, the energy of empty space, is fine-tuned to 1 part in 10 to the power of 120. That number is so ridiculously small, it's like throwing a dart at the entire observable universe and hitting a coin by sheer chance. A tiny change, and the universe would expand too fast for galaxies to form. Even the mass difference between protons and neutrons, a fraction of a percent, is perfectly balanced to allow atoms like hydrogen to exist. If the ratios of forces or particle masses were tweaked by even a hair, we wouldn't just cease to exist. The entire structure of matter, chemistry, stars, and life would unravel. It's as if someone or something input the settings with a surgeon's hand. This precise calibration raises the question, why do these constants have the values they do? One explanation is the anthropic principle, suggesting we observe these values because we exist. Another, more provocative explanation is that these constants were deliberately set by a simulator to create a universe capable of supporting life, even if that life wasn't supposed to be us. Clue number 4. Mathematical foundations. The universe runs on code. The laws governing our universe are deeply mathematical. From the equations describing gravity to those governing quantum mechanics, mathematics is the language of the cosmos. This pervasive mathematical structure could be indicative of an underlying code, a set of instructions running a cosmic simulation. If our universe operates on mathematical rules, it lends credence to the idea that it's a programmed reality. Clue number 5. Quantum indeterminacy, the observer effect. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in a superposition of states until observed. This observer effect implies that the act of measurement influences the system. In a simulated universe, this could be analogous to a computer rendering only the parts of a game world that a player is interacting with, conserving computational resources. The observer effect might thus be a feature of the simulation's optimization. Clue number 6. Limits of computation, the universe's processing power. If our universe is a simulation, it would be subject to computational limits. Phenomena like the speed of light could represent the maximum data transfer rate. Similarly, the uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics might reflect limitations in processing precision. These constraints could be the result of the simulator's hardware capabilities, imposing boundaries on the simulated reality. These clues, while not definitive proof, collectively build a case for the simulation hypothesis. After all, a high-profile murder case will end in mistrial if there's only one piece of circumstantial evidence. But a smart jury would consider 5 or 6 pieces of circumstantial evidence in their totality, the cumulative effect of it all. And a case can, in my opinion, reasonably be made that our universe exhibits characteristics one might expect from a sophisticated simulation. As we continue to explore and understand the cosmos, we may uncover more evidence that challenges our perceptions of reality. Let's explore where that might lead. Can we test the simulation hypothesis? If we really are living inside a simulation, then it's not just a philosophical idea. It's a falsifiable claim, and if that's the case, it should, at least in theory, be testable. So, what would a test for reality actually look like? Test number 1, cosmic ray cutoffs, the simulation's processing limits. In 2012, a group of physicists from the University of Bonn proposed a bold idea. If our universe is a simulation running on a discrete space-time grid, picture a kind of 3D cosmic lattice, like Minecraft but with quarks, then there should be signs of this structure at the smallest scales. Specifically, ultra-high energy cosmic rays, particles zipping through space at near light speed, might hit the pixel limit of the universe. Think of them as high-speed marbles rolling across a tiled floor. If the floor isn't perfectly smooth, you might notice odd bounces or patterns in how the marbles scatter. Similarly, we might observe subtle cutoffs or directional anomalies, anisotropies, in the behavior of these particles. So far, no such definitive patterns have been detected, but it's one of the few examples where a deeply philosophical idea, like the simulation hypothesis, actually dares to stick its toe into the scientific method, offering a testable, falsifiable prediction, and that's rare company. Test number 2, the double slit experiment, a glitch in the matrix. In quantum mechanics, the famous double slit experiment shows that particles behave like waves, unless you observe them, in which case they act like particles. It's as if the universe only renders reality when you're looking. That sounds suspiciously like a simulation conserving resources by only processing what's necessary. Now, is that just quantum weirdness, or is it a performance hack? Physicist Seth Lloyd has explored the idea of the universe as a quantum computer. If so, quantum uncertainty may not just be a limitation, it could be an optimization strategy. Test number 3, searching for repeating patterns. If we're in a simulation, perhaps it loops, perhaps bits of it repeat. Like a texture copy-pasted in a video game, small patterns might be reused to save on processing power. Some scientists have searched for repeating patterns in the cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang that still echoes across the sky. It's essentially the oldest light in the universe, a kind of baby photo of everything. If we were in a closed or simulated universe, perhaps the edges of reality, assuming edges even exist, would reveal themselves through symmetrical structures or recurring topologies. Imagine walking through a forest and noticing that the same tree appears every few steps, slightly rotated, slightly dimmed, but unmistakably the same. That would raise eyebrows. That's the idea here. The cosmos, writ large, might contain these repeating fingerprints, artifacts not of nature, but of compression. So far, we haven't found anything conclusive, but then again, maybe we haven't looked closely enough. Test number 4, Gödel and the limits of self-reference. Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorems tell us something humbling. In any system of logic complex enough to describe arithmetic, there will be truths that can't be proven using the rules of that system. In other words, there are facts that exist, but you can't get to them from inside the box. Now apply that to our universe. If we are inside a simulation, then we're trying to understand the system using tools built by the system. It's like trying to bite your own teeth. Or imagine a character in a video game becoming self-aware and trying to prove there's a console behind it all. The tools available to that character, its physics, its code, don't include the concept of PlayStation. It's not that the answer doesn't exist, it's that it may be forever beyond reach. If our universe is governed by similar limitations, then searching for the simulator could be like trying to read the last page of a book that's still being written, with us stuck in the ink. Test number 5, asking the simulator. Some thinkers, like philosopher David Chalmers, have speculated that one day we'll create artificial intelligences so advanced they'll start asking the big questions. What am I? Why am I? Are we in a simulation? Now flip that thought upside down. What if that's already happened and we're the AI? Not the creators, but the created. Self-aware subroutines in someone else's cosmic sandbox, poking the edges of reality and asking why it flickers when we're not looking. Some simulation theorists and a few enthusiastic keyboard warriors have actually tried sending messages into the void. They've used prime numbers, geometric patterns, even quantum entanglement, hoping to get the attention of our cosmic coder. It's like ants arranging grains of sand into hello and hoping the human with the magnifying glass knows their code. So far, no response, which might mean no one's watching, or worse, that they are, and we're just not interesting enough to answer. So, can we test it? Possibly. But if the simulation is sophisticated enough to include quantum mechanics, relativity, consciousness, and self-awareness, it might also be clever enough to hide the evidence, or worse, to adapt in real time to prevent detection. The question is, if we did find proof, would it change anything? So, what if we knew the truth? Imagine it, not a theory, not a Reddit post, but confirmation. The truth is out. Our universe is a simulation, not built for us, not designed with our lives in mind, just code, just noise. We're a side effect of something more important. at least more important to our creators. What does that do to the human soul? Some people would laugh, some would scream, some would pray harder than they ever have, others would stop praying altogether. Because this truth wouldn't just challenge physics, it would tear through our philosophy, our religions, our sense of self. Would nihilism prevail if we're in a simulation not made for us? Does that mean nothing matters? That's the first instinct. A lot of people would spiral. What's the point in morality, in kindness, in suffering, in love, if we're just data? But here's the catch. We've been here before. We may just be the foam, but foam still floats. When we discovered the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, people said it would break faith. It didn't. When Darwin showed we evolved from apes, they said morality would collapse. Again, it didn't. And when Nietzsche declared God was dead, he wasn't celebrating. He was warning. Because without belief, people need something else. We are meaning-making creatures. When one worldview dies, another rises. A new religion could emerge. Simulation theory could become the foundation of a new faith. Worship not of a god, but of the programmer. All hail the almighty Dave. Not prayer, but attempts at contact. Encoded rituals, mathematical hymns, digital temples. Maybe the programmer is benevolent, maybe they're indifferent, maybe they're gone, and we're living in an abandoned machine. Some people would build churches, others would burn them down. We might see splits, schisms, those who believe the simulation is a test, those who believe it's a game, and those who believe it's a prison. Science would split too. The physicists would be furious, the philosophers gleeful. The tech companies would rebrand faster than you could say Meta 2.0. Suddenly people would want to live forever, because deleting your consciousness might feel like pressing escape, and others might want to exit. We'd see the rise of simulation monks, people who reject material pleasure because they think it's all code, and digital prophets who claim they can see the system, glitches, bugs, signs from the simulator, but maybe nothing would change. Here's the twist, maybe we'd still get up tomorrow, still go to work, still fall in love, still worship the almighty Dave. Because real or not, the pain feels real. The joy and love feel real. Every star, every world, every atom feels real. And maybe that's enough. Because if all the horrible things I mentioned before unfold, we are doing ourselves a profound injustice, for we will be admitting that our meaning is defined by something external. Yes, we would be a sub-reality, born of one greater and infinitely more complex. But would that take from us the meaning so many of us find in the very existence of existence? I like to think not. Meaning is what we make it, and to outsource it is bordering on laziness, for meaning isn't handed to us, it's coded in the choices we make. And anyway, the only way our creators could take that away is with the off button. God damn it, Dave! I hope you find your meaning, and hey, liking and subscribing might just help me find mine. And as always, my channel is meaningless enough that I can reply to all your comments. See you next time.